Something good there.
Feels good when a plan actually works. Nice job.
Boom kadeem kabam guys, this is Games Techno back with another freaking video, and today we'll be seeing if Apex Legends average frames per second differ if we enable the texture streaming budget from none to the minimum amount. So I right here have one of the lowest end PCs that are capable of playing Apex Legends, that has a GTX 750 Ti powering it basically, because the CPU and RAM don't matter that much, but I have like the bare minimum and stuff. I have got a Ryzen 3 1300X and 8 gigabytes of DDR4 memory in single channel. Now, as I said before, my PC is one of the lowest end PCs that can run Apex Legends. Now, I'm very grateful for whatever I have on my hands right now, but the thing I just wanted to test is if the frames per second will differ if we enable the texture streaming budget, because at none the game looks pretty crappy basically. So if turning things up to the minimum level, that is low or very low option, I think, which requires 2 gigabytes of VRAM, that is the amount of VRAM that my GTX 750 Ti has, are the average frames per second gonna differ? If they are gonna differ in my case, they're probably gonna differ in your case as well. So we'll check out if we should enable them or keep it at none, or if there is even like any frames per second difference on the average basis for the two cases. And that rhymes. Nice. Okay. Okay, so here I've pulled up the graph of the two cases. The first one being where we kept the texture streaming budget to none, or basically nothing, and yeah, there it is. You can check it out. And boom, here goes the minimum texture streaming budget, that is 2 GB for my card, and it can basically differ for your card how much VRAM your card has. It depends on that. So there is that result. Okay, so as you must have seen from the graphs, I tested both of the cases in 4 freaking matches, because in a battle royale games, there are so many variables. That's why I tested each scenario with 4 full matches. Some of them were like small and some of them were quite a bit bigger than the other ones, but 4 matches gave us the average, which I'm about to tell you now. With the texture streaming budget set to none, I got 80 FPS on average and 34 FPS minimum. Now the gameplay experience was quite smooth. The 34 FPS I believe will be from the time when we are in the drop ship, when we are about to drop in the map and the whole map is visible at that time. So the GPU gets kinda it hurts for the GPU basically there, but when we're on the ground the frame rates are quite stable. So that is the result for the no texture streaming budget basically, or none. 80 FPS average and 34 FPS minimum. And then with the minimum settings, that is 2 GB of VRAM for my case, or very low or low settings, whatever they stand for, there goes the average. 88 frames per second as an average and 35 minimum frames per second. Like what? Yes indeed, it is 8 frames more than the last case when we used no textures. The game looks like crap, and oh man, I don't have a clear idea why this happened, but it did. The minimum FPS are not that different. We got 34 in the last case and 35, even it's like +1 still. So we got 35 with the 2 gigabytes VRAM option, and we got 88 average frames as I mentioned, so that is 8 more than the previous one. Okay, I think the case here is my GPU maybe was not getting, utilized to the 100%, but I think it was. I don't know what the case is, but as I tested, it turns out that there is no difference, or rather in my case, I don't know why I gained some frames per second, so I think you should try the minimum settings for your card, or match the texture streaming budget to the amount of VRAM your card has. It basically has no impact, and if there is any impact, just as in my case, you just might get some freaking extra frames per second on the average basis. That was all. I was like, let's just make this thing, because I was like questioning myself if the frames differ or not if we increase the texture streaming budget from none, that is, because yeah, I mean, I've mentioned everything like a million times now. That was all. Bye bye.